everybody, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. So if you've been with me for a while, you might be a little familiar with the series I've been doing on my channel, which is pretty much reviewing BH Cosmetics Gemstone palette series. I just did June's video, so I'm a little bit behind by a few months. So if you can't tell, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about their Ruby palette from the month of July, which pretty much just looks like this red hot little number right here. So this is the 7th video I've done, and I have to say that up until this point, none of the palettes we've seen had been similar to the other palettes. I was a little wary about how the Pearl and Diamond palette were going to be, and the Opal palette, which actually just came out, but they were actually quite different from each other. If you recall, Diamond veered more on the silver side. June was kind of more like neutral brown territory, which was the Pearl palette. And Opal is actually a really pretty pastel looking palette, which I'm dying to get my hands on, but it's currently sold out on their website, so that's gonna have to wait a little bit longer. So yeah, those palettes had the chance of being similar to each other, but they're actually quite different. So up until this point, we hadn't really seen any palettes that did look similar, but good old Ruby came along, and she looking a little familiar. If you recall January's palette, we looked at Garnet, and I mean, right away the packaging looks near identical. Like, this one's a little bit more shinier. It's like a lighter red, but overall still extremely similar. And July's palette looks, ooh, got stuck, looks like this. So obviously a lot of reds you have like 4 out of the 7 shades that veer on the side of red, and then of course you have their like standard neutral colors, which I swear are in every single palette, and then you have this like interesting random gold shade right here, but actually it looks like it might have like a red undertone to it. Like, it might have some red sparkles thrown in, so that's kind of interesting. And then of course you just have this pressed glitter over here per usual, and this is, looks like it's just a straight red color. So that is July's palette, which is the Ruby. And then you take a look at, and then you take a look at Garnet, and it looks very similar. I mean, it's not identical, but those two long shades, I'm not gonna lie, look like they could be dupes for each other. And then of course those two neutral shades, very similar. Again, like not identical, but quite similar, where I feel like you don't really need them both. And then you have that plain red shade right there on the bottom middle that looks very similar to the red shade right here. And then instead of a red pressed glitter, you get black pressed glitter for Garnet, which, interesting color choice. But yeah, very similar indeed. Now, I don't want to go ahead and say that if you have Garnets, you don't need Rubies, because obviously you do get some different colors in here. Like, this one's different and that one's different. But overall, like, the long shade, very similar. Very similar. Now, if you've been following along with this series, we've discovered that all the palettes retail for $9 a piece, which is extremely reasonable. And I honestly have been very impressed with these palettes so far. I think the only one I didn't like was Emerald. I just, like, I don't know. The color story was just weird, and it felt like the colors were a little too muddy and they didn't blend well together. But overall, I've been very pleased with this collection. So if you wanted both of these palettes, really, is it gonna break the bank? No, it's not. So that's just kind of my first thought right off the get-go. And actually, I want to swatch out those two long shades really quickly because they look super similar. So right here is Ruby, and I mean, it feels nice. So as you can see, Ruby is like a red pink sort of color. It's definitely not a true red. It's not a true pink either. it veers on that middle ground. And then there's Garnet right there. So it's just slightly deeper than Ruby, but honestly, they're still so similar. And if you stay till the end of the video, I will swatch out both palettes side by side just so you can kind of get a feel to see how similar they are to each other. So as we know, the setup for the palette is usually you have a couple of matte shades. So we have the 3 matte shades right there. You have a couple shimmers, 3, so it's usually 50-50, and then you have the 1 pressed glitter. And then this long shade right here is the Gemstone name, which is Ruby. And then these shades right here, their shade names are the traits of the Ruby July baby. Does that even make sense? I don't know. So if you're a July baby, you are sparkly. You're a fun gal. You're proud. Ooh, geez, my voice did a little thing. You're proud, you're a drama queen, you're witty, you're honest. Ooh, honestly, this July person sounds like a good time. Those are some darn good traits. Like, I want to be witty and sparkly and a fun gal. And then, of course, the palette includes a little mirror that just says, you're red hot Ruby. So I'm actually Garnet. Like, what were the traits of a Garnet? Loyal. Oh, I would agree with that. I've been told I'm very loyal. A go-getter. No. Works it with an E, no. Street smart, no. Sensitive, for sure. Productive AF, no. So apparently I'm this like crazy workaholic, let's get shit done kind of person, and that is not me. So I'm a let's lay on the couch for 17 hours watching Dawson's Creek kind of girl, which is the show I'm currently watching right now. Anyways, so I'm going to zoom you in and we're going to play around with this palette. My cheeks are like really red today. I'm like super flushed. So, you know, God, I'm dying. You know, just, I got to keep with the red theme. You know, that's just what's happening today. So I washed my brushes so they are nice and clean, and we love that for us. Yes, we do. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take Honest, which is like this. Oh, maybe this, I thought this was a true red, but maybe there are some gold glitters in there. Doesn't look like it though in the pan, but in the viewfinder, I don't know, maybe it's a reflection. Anyways, so I'm going to take like this peachy brown shade and I'm going to put that into the crease. Like I said, I really like BH Cosmetics. Oh gosh, okay, wow. That shade is like super powdery. But we're going to ignore it because we love BH Cosmetics. I was actually reading, I think it was like on an Instagram post or something, and someone made a comment and they're like that it was BH's year this year. And I would agree with that. Like, they've been killing it with their releases. They've been having some good stuff. I mean, look at this. Like, granted, it's a brown shade and it's not that hard to be impressive with a neutral shade, but I mean, look at that. Like, the shades are always so nice and pigmented. They're affordable. Like, what? And they blend really well. Not only that, but they just have some really pretty color stories. Like, I used to be a huge fan of ColourPop, and don't get me wrong, I still am. Still love me some good ColourPop, but I feel like as of lately, they're just pissing everybody the hell off. Like, am I right? They release constantly. They do the same boring color stories. Like, yeah, they have some fun collections. Like, even though I'm not a sports fan, I'm kind of excited about their sports collection that they're releasing just because it looks fun. But I don't know. I just feel like ColourPop used to really be in tune with their audience. They used to really know what their audience wanted and they listened to them. But now I just feel like they're so consumed with making money that they just kind of fell out of touch with their audience, you know? Like, they don't really give a crap anymore what anybody wants. Like, how long have we been saying we want duochrome shadows? Like, forever and a day. Like, when is that gonna happen? You know? And when are their holiday releases gonna be really nice instead of boring? I went off on a tangent. Anyways, so I think the whole point of that was just to say I used to really love ColourPop. But now I feel like BH Cosmetics has kind of dethroned them just because I feel like they still have really affordable palettes that are good quality, which is just something I feel like we really need these days because the prices of everything has been going up and we want to still look good. We want nice makeup, okay? Is that too much to ask? All right. Oh, see, look at Witty. Even Witty kind of looks like these two shades that I swatched out. Like, do they not? Yeah, look at that. All so similar. Like, that's Ruby, that was a Garnet, and that's whatever that shade was, Witty. So, I mean, that one's like a lighter tone. That one's more like a muted red. Muted, shimmery red. Anyways, so I'm going to take Fun Gal, which is, I don't know, I don't want to call it a brick red, but I guess you could call it a brick red. Anyways, I'm going to put that into the crease. Not the crease, the outer corner. See, oh my gosh, look at that. Just look how nicely that goes on. It just lays perfectly. Like, how beautiful. Like, are you a fan? And look at the colors just blend so nicely together. Like, they just melt into each other. Like, honestly, you almost don't even need a blending brush. But we are going to blend it. So, I mean, this color, oh, well, actually, okay, no, I mean, it's really not losing its vibrancy too much. That is pretty. I mean, gonna be honest, the color story isn't like my jam, but I can recognize that that is still pretty. Okay, see, look at that. That's really nice. It just looks like a mimosa sunset. Alright, for some reason this eye is like watering like crazy, so let's ignore this eye, but really pretty. I am a big fan. Big fan of your work, Ruby. Big fan of your work. Okay, so as always, I'm going to take the long shade and put that on the lid. That's a really pretty color. Honestly, I love their shimmers. I just think they really nailed down that formula. 'Cause sometimes shimmers, it's like, you put it on the eye and you're like, hello, are you there? Like, all right, let me break out my MAC Fix Plus or whatever it is you use. I use Set and Spray, which, I don't know. I don't know if you're supposed to use that to wet your brush. I mean, I don't see why not, but that's what I use. Like, yeah, see, look at that. Very nice shimmer. Nice and opaque, which is what you want sometimes in a shimmer. I mean, I can get on board with like toppers every now and again, but for the most part, I want a shimmer on my entire lid. I said that weird. I want a shimmer on my entire lid. I sound like a robot or something. I think, should I even do reviews of these anymore? Because I feel like it's always the same thing. It's always me being like, oh, this is so nice. Alright, so there you have it. I think I went a little bit heavier on the side than I meant to, but oops. Let's just talk about the color story for like half a second. I'm not entirely sure how a yellow can be perceived as a ruby, but okay. I mean, it's there, so we're working with it. But I think I'm pretty satisfied with how that looks. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take Yellow Ruby. Is that a thing? Probably not. I'm going to take Yellow Ruby and I'm going to use that to highlight the brow bone. Now sometimes, as we know, when I use these very shimmery shades to highlight the brow bone, things get out of hand like super quickly. And I'm always like, oh no, what have I done? And then I realize, who cares? Okay, so this one actually is more like a topper, in my opinion. Well, kind of. Yeah, it's kind of like a top. I don't know. Like, it looks very sheer and sparkly below the brow bone, but I'm also trying to use a light hand, so that could be why. Oh yeah, like, wow, that is like pure glitter. Pure glitter. That is pure glitter. We're okay with that. sometimes I am just straight up okay. Can I talk? Okay, Jesus. Sometimes I'm straight up okay with glitter. Ooh, that is a really pretty glitter, actually. Okay, I do not hate that. Would not use it on the brow bone. Like, that is more like a center of the lid kind of shade. But, pretty. I approve. I approve. I mean, I had to have some shade for my highlight, so... And I want to use as many shades as possible in this palette. Okay, I just made things like super crazy on this brow. That's really pretty. Look at it. It looks like a fiery sunset. Definitely we did not see a shade like this in the Garnet palette. Okay, so that's like a little crazy. Like, I always go like crazy on this eyebrow. I always go crazy on this eyelid for some reason. Because that's just me and that is who I am. Alright, so now we are going to take Proud, which is just this like basic cocoa brown color, and just quickly line the lower lash line with it. I suspect this shade will be fine. Yeah, it's turning out just fine. So up until this point, we've seen very, very minimal fallout. I don't think I've had to wipe my eyes once. So we stan a palette that has almost no fallout. Okay. Let's add that yellow glitter into the corner. Really pretty. I think this yellow shade is my favorite from the palette, which honestly, I told you that would happen. Well, not that the yellow shade would be my favorite palette, but that their shimmer shade would just stand out and be so beautiful. Oh, I wish you could see how beautiful this looks right now. Like, this looks like a legitimate glittery sunset, and I am not disappointed. So, I hate to say it, but I think I actually like this palette better than my own birth month Garnet palette. I think this one's fun. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly take Drama Queen and put that on the center of the lids. As you all know, I saved that shade for last because I feel like it goes on last. But not only that, I'm very aware that not everybody likes pressed glitters, uses pressed glitter on their eye. So I just want to show you what you can get without using the pressed glitter. Ta-da! Beautiful. Love it. Go get you some July palette. And now I'm going to show you what you can get if you do use the pressed glitter. So let's roll that beautiful bean footage. By the way, you are awesome if you know what I'm talking about. I was so happy. I think it was Graveyard Girl. She used that phrase on her video and I was like, oh my gosh. I thought I was the only one who ever heard that footage. The only one who ever heard that phrase before. But nope. Nope, it's very much a thing. And if you're like me and you're like, well, just tell us what it's about, please. Like, don't leave us hanging. I will tell you. It was from a commercial, I don't know, like early 2000s maybe, probably. And maybe late 90s, I don't know. And it was like a baked bean commercial. And the narrator was like, roll that beautiful bean footage. Okay, so I don't even know if you can see that. So BH Cosmetics has really pretty glitters. They're very, I don't want to say opaque, but they're very glittery. It's not like, you know how sometimes with pressed glitters, they have like that sort of Dazzling sort of feel to them. Like, you don't get this with BH Cosmetics. No, it's like very, very glittery. Honestly, it doesn't even look like the glitter is really fallen out, I don't think. I mean, don't hold me accountable for that statement, but that's just kind of what it looks like. Yeah, so their glitters are very opaque, I guess, if you could say that. I don't want to say opaque, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's just straight glitter that you're putting on your eye, and really nothing else. So I like that, and I like the fact that their glitters go beautifully with the colors that they chose for the palette. The only thing I don't like is once their glitters are down, they're not going anywhere. Which, yes, I guess that is good because that means minimal fallout all over your face throughout the night. But then it means if you put too much somewhere or you messed up and put it in the wrong spot, that glitter ain't going anywhere, which is what happened to me. I just like put a huge chunk right there that I didn't mean to do, and I can't really blend it out. So that's the only complaint I have about their glitters. Alright, so here are the two palettes. On the top we have July, and then on the bottom we have January. So Ruby and Garnet. Now obviously very similar palettes, but I think the colors and the tones are different enough where I would not call these palettes dupes for each other. I mean, especially like, look at that gold shade right there. You will not find that in the Garnet palette in that deep, beautiful red shade. So similar, but still kind of different. So there you have it. There's a review. Obviously, I'm super impressed with this palette. I've been super impressed with all of BH Cosmetics Gemstones palette. I really think this is a great series, and if any of these palettes intrigue you, I highly recommend that you go ahead and pick them up because I just think it's such a fun idea and it really gets you excited for the first of the month. Every month I'm like, ooh, what palette are they releasing next? So I definitely recommend this. I hope you go check it out. And by the way, I do have a giveaway currently going on this channel. How many more times can I say that? I am giving away the Ethereal Bloom palette by Artist Couture. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber of this channel, leave a comment down below, give this video a thumbs up, and be a US resident. And that is all. Alright, peeps. I will see you in the next gemstone video, whenever that may be. Hopefully next week. We will look at August's palette. August's palette. August's palette. I can't say that. All right. Bye.